All right, let's talk about AI in schools. We all know it's coming. In fact, it's already knocking on the schoolhouse door, and it promises to change pretty much everything. But the big question is, how do you actually let it in without unleashing total chaos? Today, we're going to walk through a real, practical roadmap for bringing AI into our schools, not as a scary disruption, but as a seriously powerful new partner.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? It feels like schools have two options. Either you stick your head in the sand and pretend AI doesn't exist and you get left behind, or you just open the floodgates and risk a complete free-for-all. But what if there's a third way? A smart, structured approach that gets everyone, teachers, students, and staff, ready for this new reality.
And that's where this brilliant framework comes in. Just look at this. It breaks the whole journey down into three clear phases. You've got foundations, application, and vision. And the best part? It customizes the approach for every single person in the school, from the classroom teacher all the way to the operations team. This is going to be our map for this explainer.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to build that foundation, setting the rules of the road. Then, we'll get our hands dirty with application, the actual how-tos and tools. After that, we'll look to the future with the vision piece. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a really clear, human-focused takeaway.
Okay, first up, the foundation. And this is so important. A successful AI strategy doesn't start with buying fancy new software. Nope. It starts with policy, with guardrails, and with a really clear understanding of why we're even doing this in the first place.
So who has to lead the charge here? It's the administrators. Before a single new AI tool gets rolled out, the leadership team has to get way out ahead of it by creating crystal clear rules. We're talking about really important stuff like data privacy and academic integrity. And these policies, they're not meant to stifle creativity. They're meant to create a safe sandbox for everyone to innovate in. And these policies have to be super practical. For example, here's a simple, non-negotiable rule. No staff member can ever input a student's personally identifiable information, what we call PII, into a public AI model. We're talking names, addresses, anything that can identify a kid. A simple, clear rule like that protects students in the school right from day one.
Now, let's shift gears and look at this from the teacher's perspective. For them, the foundational mindset really boils down to this one core idea. AI is a co-pilot. It is not there to replace them. It's a tool that's designed to help them, to augment their skills, and to free them up to do the uniquely human work that only they can do.
Think of it like the 80-20 rule. The whole idea is to let AI handle that 20% of the job that's kind of routine and time-consuming. Drafting parent emails, summarizing articles, or generating a quick warm-up activity. That frees up the teacher's time and energy for the 80% that truly matters, connecting with students, mentoring them, and providing that deep, meaningful instruction.
Okay, so the rules are in place, the mindset is right. Now we get to move to stage 2, application. This is where the rubber really meets the road. It's all about moving from theory to building tangible, practical, everyday skills for everybody in the school.
For teachers, one of the key new skills is something called prompt engineering. It's not just about asking the AI a question. It's about giving it specific, structured instructions to get a really high-quality result. Look at this example. You tell it the role, the specific task, and the constraints. By doing this, a teacher can generate perfectly tailored essay prompts in seconds, not hours. That is a huge win.
So that's for teachers. But what about the administrators? For them, the practical application looks a little different. Their challenge is often trying to make sense of just overwhelming amounts of unstructured data. Think about all the comments from staff surveys, classroom observation notes, and hundreds of parent emails.
Well, check this out. An AI-powered dashboard can slurp up hundreds of those written comments from a staff survey, and in an instant, it can visualize the main themes. So right here, we can see that lack of planning time is the #1 concern. An administrator gets that insight immediately without having to spend an entire weekend manually reading every single comment. I mean, come on, that is a total game changer for making smart, strategic decisions.
And that brings us to our final stage, vision. This is where we lift our heads up from the day-to-day and start thinking about how AI is going to fundamentally reshape education for the long haul. What's next?
And right here, the focus has to evolve in a big way. It's not enough anymore to just teach students how to use AI. We have to teach them how to think with AI. This is what we call critical AI literacy. It's the ability to question an AI's output, to verify its claims, and to refine what it produces.
For generations, this has been the process for writing a paper, right? We all did this. You do the research, create an outline, write the draft, and then revise it. It's a process that is almost entirely focused on creating something from a blank page.
But now, with AI, that process gets flipped completely on its head. The new workflow is more like being a human editor. The AI can generate that first draft. The student's job then becomes much more sophisticated. They have to verify the facts, critique the argument, find the biases, and, this is the most important part, add their own unique insight and voice. The essential skill shifts from writing to critical thinking.
And for school leaders, the long-term vision has to be centered on one absolutely critical word: equity. As these incredibly powerful tools become more and more common, the biggest strategic challenge is going to be making sure they're used to close achievement gaps, not make them even wider. Every single student and every teacher has to have the chance to benefit.
So after going through the foundation, the application, and the vision, what's the big takeaway here? What's the bottom line? It's that a successful AI strategy is and always will be about people, not about programs.
This whole roadmap really boils down to 4 core principles. 1. Start with clear rules and ethics. 2. Build practical skills that actually help people in their specific jobs. 3. Focus on using AI to make human connections stronger, not replace them. And 4. Always plan for an equitable, long-term impact. That's really the path forward.
And that leaves us with this final thought. AI is coming to our schools. That train has already left the station. So the real question, the one that all of us have a stake in, isn't if this is going to happen, but how we are going to choose to shape it to build a better, smarter, and ultimately more human future for our students. Thanks so much for joining this explainer.